Good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. Here's another What Is video. I thought this would be an interesting one to make. And again, it's not a deep dive into the Levant necessarily, but it's a quick look at what the Levant is, how it matches up with the promised land in the Bible, the land promised to Israel. So the Levant is a term used by many to describe the area of the Middle East. This is from wikipedia.com. And of course, if you recall, ISIS, Muslims in general, refer to the Levant, an area in the Middle East that they want to take over, that they want to own, that they want to have as their caliphate. The Levant is an approximate historical geographical term referring to a large area in the eastern Mediterranean, primarily Western Asia. In its narrowest sense, it is equivalent to the historical region of Syria. In its widest sense, the Levant included all of eastern Mediterranean with its islands. That is, it included all the countries along the eastern Mediterranean shores from Greece to Cyrenaica. So this is a term, again, used by ISIS and other Arab and Muslim countries and people groups to describe the landmass that they feel is theirs. And so this is an image of the Levant. This is from Google Images, and so you can see the yellow outline there. You can see it includes part of Egypt, it includes part of Saudi Arabia, part of Jordan, and basically all of Syria there, and Lebanon. This is what they refer to as, and Cyprus. This is what they refer to as the Levant. This is the area which they want to control. This is what ISIS claims they want to control. This is what the Muslims, the Arabs, this is the land that they want. So it's interesting that the Levant, the landmass that they want to control and populate, is eerily similar to the area promised to Israel in the Bible, in the Promised Land. So let's look at this here. This is an image from, again, Google Images, and this shows the original borders of the Promised Land. And so what does the original borders of the Promised Land, spoken of in Genesis 15 and other locations, what landmass does that describe? Well, look at it. It includes some of Egypt, some of Saudi Arabia, it includes some of Iraq, and all of the Jordan, and part of Syria and Lebanon. So this is part of the Promised Land. So what is the Promised Land then? Well, the Promised Land, is another article from Wikipedia, also known as the land of milk and honey, is a land which, according to the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, was promised and subsequently given by God to Abraham and his descendants, and in modern contexts, an image, an idea related both to the restored homeland for the Jewish people and to salvation. So where is Israel right now? Well, Israel is pushed down into an area right in the middle of that image, just a tiny selection of what originally was the borders of the Promised Land, basically. So here you can see present-day Israel in this image. This is the land to which they are stuck, and if they do a two-state solution, they're going to have even about basically 50% of that land mass. If you divide the land of Israel and they want to, and the borders are already drawn up, then they lose even more of that land. But when you look at it, when you zoom out, you look at I wonder if I can go to this image, the full-size image here. Let's see if we can. There we go. If you can see that. If we look at the whole image here, you can see that the Promised Land is a huge amount, and these are the original borders described in Genesis and Joshua, to give two chapter references to the Bible. And so Israel right now doesn't control, obviously, a large part of that, and what they want to do with the peace deal is cause Israel to own even less of what they own now, which is just a small slice of the Promised Land up in the top right corner there. So that is what it is. And so the Promised Land and Levant are, for all intents and purposes, basically describing the same thing. One owned by and called by the Jewish and Israel as their own land, as their original Promised Land, and the other one named by the Arabs, the Muslims, ISIS, etc., as their land, as their caliphate, as land that they should own. So you can see a direct conflict there, obviously, between the two people groups. And so, who does the land belong to? Well, again, in Genesis, in the book of Joshua, it speaks to Israel being given this promised land. The promise was first made to Abraham in Genesis 15, then confirmed to his son Isaac in Genesis 26, and then to Isaac's son Jacob in Genesis 28. The promised land was described in terms of the territory from the river of Egypt to the Euphrates. A smaller area of former Canaanite land and land east of the Jordan River was conquered and occupied by their descendants, the Israelites, after Moses led the Exodus out of Egypt. And so this is the disputed landmass by basically Islam and Judaism, between the major religions there. And so this is the battleground effectively in the last days. So just a description, quick look at what the Levant is as compared to the Promised Land. And they're basically the same land masses that they're fighting over. And so this is the battleground in the last days. So I believe they're a quick description of what the Levant is. And basically it is the promised land described in the Bible, but the ownership is considered by the Muslims to be their own, and not for the Jews, not for Israel. And so this is the continual fight over the last couple thousands of years as to who owns this land and who is allowed to populate it. So I'll leave there, guys, a quick description of what the Levant is. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of that. Leave your comments in the description, and we'll see you guys in the next video.